The Republican Party has to be tough, has to be smart. And if they're not tough and smart, I'm going to win, but a lot of other people won't. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. We have a couple of senators, we don't want to endorse Trump. That's okay. I don't care. If they don't endorse me, that's fine.
Donald Trump taking aim at his Republican critics at a rally in Tampa, Florida. That event is still underway right now. He'll be holding a second rally in a matter of hours in Moon Township, Pennsylvania. Now this as Republicans both for and against the presumptive nominee are huddled in Utah at Mitt Romney's annual retreat. GOP leaders and anti-Trump Republicans discussing the party's future. Ashley Bell is an RNC delegate from Georgia. And Ashley, I welcome you to talk about this because there reportedly is conversation at this retreat about Paul Ryan and other GOP leaders continued support of Donald Trump despite all of his stumbles. What's your feeling on these lawmakers who are walking this fine line, straddling this fence, saying what he said is racist, but they're still going to endorse him?
Well, look, as far as the convention is concerned, the game's over. There are no superdelegates in the Republican Party. I was a superdelegate on the Democratic side, and you could vote for whoever you wanted to until the last minute. That's not the case with the Republican Party. Everyone's a grassroots leader, and they're beholden to the people that sent them. So that door is closed. That ship has sailed. Now, when it comes to what do we do next, my party needs to understand we're all on the same team. And what happens, this is like the NBA Finals. It's the third quarter. We're down by 11 points since today's poll. And unless we get it together, we're going to lose. So we have to figure out how can we all play together. If Donald Trump's running off script, he sees now that the Republican establishment's not going to back him up. They're not going to defend him. And Hillary's going to run up the score. So hopefully we have to get on the same page and help each other understand, get that teleprompter back out there, stay on message, and try to make sure that we're pointing to the issues that America cares about.
Do you think he's capable of staying on message?
The teleprompter, that's the key. So
he doesn't seem to like it that much, though. And I'm not sure that those who are in attendance at his rallies actually like it either. I mean, he likes to go unscripted, and that's when he gets the biggest applause.
Look, let me tell you, the primary is over. America needs to see Donald Trump not just in front of big crowds. I love to see my nominee in an inner city, at a school, reading to kids, talking to teachers, meeting with everyday blue-collar folks, asking them what are the problems in this country. We haven't seen any of those shots yet. This campaign can't run from beginning to end behind the stage in big crowds of people who support you. We got to get out there and win over some people who hasn't met yet.
And I get that, Ashley, but what we have seen of Donald Trump is that when he's confronted by these issues, he just doubles down. I want to play you a little bit of sound from today's rally where he addresses being called racist. Here it is.
Don King, Don King, the boxing promoter. And Don King said, Donald, I'm endorsing you for president. Now, you think Don King, and he knows me well, you think he's going to endorse a racist?
Now, I should note that Don King denies that he has endorsed Donald Trump. However, with this kind of logic, is there any way that Donald Trump is going to be able to expand his base of support beyond white voters?
There's no prerequisite amount of black friends you can have to make you not a racist. That's just not possible. We have to be worried about the rhetoric and how it's perceived. Donald Trump's statements about Judge Curiel, undeniably, those were statements that could be construed as racist. He needs to eventually walk that back and apologize so we can move forward. Now, can we expand the base? It's not too late. The problem is, we have not allowed Donald Trump to expand his range of issues in a way that's going to reflect what minority voters care about. Criminal justice reform. That's something the RNC has endorsed, the House and Senate leadership has endorsed, but we haven't seen Donald Trump say one thing about an issue that black and brown voters care about that is at the top of their priorities this cycle, and we're waiting on it.
But Ashley, there's this internal poll by Politico, and it found that 4 in 10 GOP insiders, they want to derail Trump at the convention. One of them was saying, quote, I will work to push through any rule necessary to deny Trump the nomination. Also, Steve Lonigan, who was with the Cruz campaign, and he now runs a PAC. He's called for a delegate revolt at the Republican convention. Here's what he said to me a bit earlier on our air. Take a listen to this.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that the Republican Party remains a conservative party, and Donald Trump is not a conservative. So we're petitioning. We've launched a petition drive this morning to get Republican signatures to unbind the delegates going into the first ballot so that Donald Trump has to go into that convention and prove himself to those delegates. As you know, Alex, those delegates have a moral obligation to assure that the Republican Party has the best candidate to defeat Hillary Clinton. And right now, Donald Trump is not uniting the party, and he will not beat Hillary Clinton.
You're a delegate, Ashley. What do you think about what he's saying? And do you feel like you have a moral obligation?
Look, I think he's looking at it absolutely wrong. You know, I was elected by voters in a district who overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump and many for Ted Cruz. So I have to cast my vote for Ted Cruz in Cleveland. But let me tell you, the key here is to get Donald Trump on the same page as the Republican Party. It's not too late. We have to make sure that all of our leaders are on the same page. Donald Trump did an excellent thing by turning it on Hillary Clinton this last week, bringing up the Raj Fernando scandal. That's huge. You have Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, confused and a security expert in stocks and bonds with a security expert in nukes and bombs. Those aren't even anywhere near close to the same thing. And I think Donald Trump going back on the offensive and reminding the American people that she's putting cronies and campaign donors in high-level positions that affect our security, that's what's going to bring this party together. That's what's going to get us all back on the same page, because we can't have Hillary Clinton in the White House.
So, Ashley, you've said you have to go and support Ted Cruz with your first vote.
Yeah.
But will you vote in November for Donald Trump?
You know, I assume he's going to be my nominee, and I'm going to support the Republican nominee. I am.
Okay. Ashley Bell, RNC delegate.
you.
Thanks for the chat. Appreciate it. Coming